And in Wizard Academy fashion, I just want to make sure everybody has some kind of a beverage handy. Like, do you have me and Don here? All right, I see it. Yeah. Raise your cup if you do. And so this is a cool little bit of trivia from our campus. This guy sits in Spence Manor, and there's two or three of these things, and they're really kind of cool. They sit on a little base, and they're just carved wooden figures, but they have a latch on the side. And inside, when you open it up, is a bottle of wine.
Ooh.
And they're designed to be when you have a group of people over and you've drank all the wine, you can look over in the corner and your old friend Don Quixote has one more bottle for the party. So it's sort of the parting glass hiding in a little carved figure. I think they're one of the coolest things in here, and most people have no idea they're here. If they stay in Spence Manor, they have no idea that they're anything other than little carved wooden things. There's actually a couple of them in the tower too. Let's see here. Since we're going, Paul, I did do that whole list. You and I went through it. I'm going to hide my self view again so I'm not staring at myself. And I'm going to change my view to speaker view. And hopefully, Paul's going to put the slides up. There we go. Writing to personality type, inclusive communication by design. Welcome all of you to this class. And just a reminder for you, we are recording this, and we'll have it available for you to rewatch if you want to. And other people that are in our Ask the Wizards subscription will be able to watch this later on if they want to. So let's do a little bit of housekeeping. We are recording, so I think in the email or when you signed up, we let you know that we are recording. So you give us permission to record by just your very presence here, and not bailing out. If you object to us recording you, then you should probably just bail out. So we're going to be talking about the Myers-Briggs temperament personality instrument, and one of the rules for Myers-Briggs is that you don't just share someone's Myers-Briggs type without their permission. And so I'm asking you if you give permission to share your Myers-Briggs in this group. Like, we're not going to get into a deep dive about what it actually means. That's for another day. That's if you've ever been to Magical Worlds, that's a Dr. Nick Grant kind of thing. But we are going to use it as a lens for personality type. So is everybody okay with everybody else knowing your Myers-Briggs type? It's going to help. It's going to be helpful as we write ads and go through this. So I don't hear any objection. I was also going to say your best bet for Zoom is to go into speaker view. So in the upper right corner of your Zoom window, there's a little view button. And if you go speaker view, Paul will make sure that you can see the slide and me when appropriate and all of that. And then make sure that you're in the meeting tab on the upper left. And now for communication, I see that you're muted, most of you. And I want this to be conversational. So if you have a question or an observation, and we're not just dragging us all down, please feel free to just speak up. Paul will be keeping an eye out if you put something in chat and want to get my attention. Paul, I hope you'll keep an eye on that and let me know.
I got it. Not a problem.
Okay, thank you. And then, does anybody have any objections to sharing your writing in sort of real time? Like, we're going to use a shared Google document, and everybody's going to have their own tab to write in. So theoretically, you could be watching someone write and edit and backspace and rewrite, but it's going to make it easier for us to share. Any objections to that? If there are, use a different document and then just paste it into this one right at the very end, and then we won't see it as you do it. But we are going to want to share what you've written about. And this one, I haven't taught this material in this order before, and I'm not sure how long this is going to go. There's a chance we could end significantly earlier than we anticipate. Is anybody going to be like screaming mad about that? Usually that's a no, because you don't have to tell the boss that we ended early, right? In fact, we'll ask a question in a little bit about what would you do if you actually inherited a bunch of free time. So that's our housekeeping. And you got this. Does everybody know their type? At least, even if you had to use this sheet, this little test, could you tell me your Myers-Briggs type, the 4-letter type? So in my case, I'm an ENTP. And the way this works is you add up the little columns, and if you have more E's than I's, you're an E. If you have more N's than S's, you're an N. Does anybody put it in the chat if you don't know, if you need a little time to do this, or if we all know our type, then we can just move on. Does anybody need a little bit more time to know their 4-letter type? Okay. Hearing no objections, I shall click to the next slide. So in the document, and Paul, can you send a link to the document now?
Yep. Just give me a moment. I got it.
Okay. So there's these questions, and so we can go around and ask these and answer them, but I think if we write them, it'll give us a chance to practice writing in this document, and it'll give us a chance to then pay attention to everybody else as they share. So let me flip over to the document, and you should have this link from Paul. And in this document, I'll just show you the organization of it. The home is just this, and but everybody has their own tab, and so just fill out your tab. Let's take 3 or 4 minutes, go into your own tab, and type in the answers to these questions, and then we'll go one by one and report back on who's here and what your MBTI type is. And we're going to ask you to write for one business or product today. So just pick something. If you have clients, pick a single client. If you're a radio writer, if you own a business, probably be your business, maybe be a product line, something like that. But you want to focus on one thing through the entire class. And then we'll come back and share this. So let's go with like 4 minutes.
Dave, I don't have the link yet.
You don't have the link yet.
The shared document, no.
It's in the chat.
Oh, it's in the chat.
Yeah. Do you have the chat?
Yeah. No, I was looking for it on email. Okay.
Yeah. We didn't email it, but everybody. So the other thing is about this is be careful with this document, because everybody in it has the right to edit it. So with great power comes great responsibility. So don't delete things that somebody else wrote. Is that cool? So I'll play a little. I've got just George Winston queued up, and we'll play a little of that. I'll play one song's worth and give you a chance to fill this out. All right. I think if unless anybody says they need more time, I think we probably probably got through that. Anyone? Okay. Well, I'll go first. I'm right at the top. I'm Vice Chancellor, Wizard Academy. I grew up in Sydney, Nebraska. Neither of my parents was from there. I think it was an exile situation. And then once I got out, I spent about 10 years or so in Tucson and moved to Austin in 2021 to become Vice Chancellor of Wizard Academy. I've been through magical worlds loads of times. My very first time, though, was 25 years ago. I went to Magical Worlds. It was the very first time I came to Wizard Academy in Roy's office down outside of Buda. I am an ENTP. I used to test as an ENFP. And if we want to get into it, like I put an asterisk on there because there are questions. Once you become a certified practitioner, you understand that the test may tell you one thing, and your consultation and discussion with someone that's a practitioner of MBTI may help guide you in a different direction or help you decide in a different way if you're unclear about one of the letters. So in my case, I've always tested pretty close to E and I being equal. So I'm either ENTP or INTP, and my T and F were always pretty equal. And what we figured out was that there were actually some issues in childhood that, like, I had a mom that forced us to go play with other kids. There's guests over, don't be a loner. So I think a lot of those things color where you end up. So I'm not going to write. It's all I can do to do this. So let's move down. I don't know, Paul. Are you going to take a swipe at this? Or yeah, there you go.
I wrote, but I'm not going to write.
Okay, because you're doing all the clicky things.
Exactly.
You want to tell us any of this?
Sure, I certainly can. After I mute a few things. Or not. I'm a Wizard of Ad's partner, and I live in Columbia, Missouri. And let's see, I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago, but Columbia is definitely home. Columbia, by the way, is directly in the middle between St. Louis and Kansas City. That's the best way. It's flyover country. Mm-hmm. Background is theater, radio, leadership development, AI, and I have just recently finished writing a book about AI and leadership. Magical worlds, yes. And then some, kind of like yours, a dozen times. I don't remember when. Hits there and there. Myers-Briggs, INFP, but we'll get into it a little bit later, of course. I'm out of preference between feeling and thinking. I live in both worlds. And what will I be writing for? I'm not going to be able to.
You're going to be clicking on the things.
I'll be clicky.
Wrangling. All right. Robin's going to join us later. Shandy? Hi there.
Sorry, I was expecting Robin, so.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Robin, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
She had something that's going to keep her out for an hour or so. So she's going to join us when she can.
Okay. My name's Shandy Brinkman. I'm from West Plains, Missouri. I've mostly lived here for most of my life, except for I went to college in Arkansas and then grad school in Kansas City. Started out in journalism, but I've been in the marketing and PR worlds I was trying to find a nice way to say like a really long time because I feel old when I say 20 years. But that's what it is.
I understand.
I work for Gamel. We're a long arm quilting machine manufacturing company. And I know probably a lot of people, it's a very niche industry. So I haven't been to Magical Worlds, and I'm an INTJ, but my N and my S were super close.
Okay. But
it could probably depend on the day.
Yeah. Okay. And you're going to be writing ads for the quilting machine.
Yep.
Have you been to campus?
I have not. The owner of our company has been. I was
going to say, I know somebody from a quilting machine company has been here.
Yeah. So. Michelle and Andrew have been there.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thanks.
All right. Did Jan ever pop in? I don't think Jan did.
She has not.
I mean, It's still 4 a.m. in Alaska. No, it's not. It's not quite like that. Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Dave.
Good to see you.
To see you. Wish I was sitting out there on campus with you, but fortunately not, right? Let's see. Let me read my who am I before I forget. Who am I? Tanya Weber from Cherry Grove, North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'm an entrepreneur by birth, meaning my parents were entrepreneurs and I was literally raised to take over the family business.
Okay.
But life took me in other directions. But by and large, I've always had to kill what I eat. I've never had a job where I just got a paycheck. And these days, I'm finding the most joy in helping others grow to potentials that perhaps they didn't even see in themselves. Have I been to magical worlds? Yes, I think the first time was in January of 2020. And I wish I could get out to the Wizard Academy every single month. That's a goal of mine. It's definitely a magical place. It centers me and grounds me and inspires me and rejuvenates me. My personality type, the first time I took the test was an ENFP, and the second time, which was about 2 years later, ENTP. And I'm still deciding what I'm writing for today, which business.
Okay. Well, you'll have till everybody's done with their intros to figure that out. Hi, Troy.
Hello, Dave. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you again. You were here.
All
pretty
right. My
recently.
name. Yes, and I'll be back in December.
Yay.
Yes.
It was out there with
I won't be the new
that
one
was-
this time. I'm bringing the new one.
All right.
All right. So I am Troy Hugler. I am originally from the middle of nowhere sticks in Pennsylvania. I now live at the beach. I spent about a decade in the car business, managing service departments. I apologize if the dog starts barking behind me. I have not been to Magical World yet. I scored my E and I could go either way depending on the day. Maybe more towards as the week goes on, it's an I. But my STJ, each time I've taken the test, have been pretty steady. And I work for Tanya and Rebecca, but I'm going to do writing for our weight loss, the longevity project.
Now, this is what's really cool, Troy, is that you're an SJ. We're going to get into what that actually means. But it's actually pretty rare to have an SJ come to Wizard Academy.
Really?
Yeah, they're usually brought by someone. So we can get into that if we want to chase that into the weeds. But I'm glad you're here. I think you're going to have a viewpoint that is maybe a lot different from a lot of the folks that are here. So I'm glad you're here.
I'm excited.
All right, Rebecca.
Okay. So Rebecca, I live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina now, originally from Wisconsin, came by way of Branson, Missouri. So I took a little detour on my way here. I have been to Magical Worlds before. Actually, Tanya brought me to my first one, which I believe was the last time that Roy taught the class.
Okay.
And that was my first experience with Wizard Academy. So talk about because I think that's the 3-day class, if I'm not mistaken. And by early morning, day 3, I was like, I need to go home. But it was a really exciting time. I am an ENTP, hard NTP. E and I fluctuate.
Okay.
I like the way that Troy put it. By the end of the week, I'm an I. Start my week off strong as an 8. But I will be writing for AIM Acupuncture and Integrative Medicine. This business has multiple branches. So I'm going to focus on what our core offering is, and that's our chronic pain and complicated conditions.
Okay, great. So one of the things that I learned when you're trying to help someone figure out whether they're an E or an I, usually it just means that they're comfortable in both worlds. But if you're trying to figure out what your true preference is, one of the questions that you can ask someone is, what did you get in trouble for when you were a child?
Talking too much.
Talking too much. So you're probably naturally an E.
Always.
And I used to get in trouble for like just hiding in my room with science fiction books.
Really? No, every one of my report cards growing up, and my parents still have them because they're pack rats,
Of course.
was Rebecca talks too much and won't sit still.
That's great.
So,
All right. Well, I'm glad you're here. William Hackett Jones. And I feel like you sent a link. You've written a children's story.
I have.
Well, I'll let you take the floor here and tell us what you're up to.
Cool. So I'm Will Hackett Jones. I was officially anointed the Wizard Academy ambassador to Russia a long time ago now. Unfortunately, soon after that, Russia decided to invade Ukraine the first time in 2014 and then again in 2022. So my ambassadorial duties have been somewhat hindered by war, but there we go. I'm English, as you might be able to hear, but I've been living in Russia since I was 23, which next year will be half my life.
Okay.
And I came over here to set up a business publishing magazines. That failed in 2008/9. Set up a translation business that failed in 2022, and I found myself backed into a corner and decided that perhaps it was just time to stop pretending I was in business and start writing like I'd always wanted to. So now I call myself a novelist. I have been to Magical Worlds either twice, or is there like a follow-up course?
Oh, there's we always think of Magical Worlds as our foundation, and then Portals and Da Vinci and the 40 Answers, and those are also kind of
I might have done Magical Worlds twice. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Done
Tell
a
us
lot
about
of
your
them.
book.
Love the academy. Love the campus. Don't get
You're an INTJ.
Yep.
Okay.
As far as I remember. You were asking what we used to get in trouble for as a child. Well, apart from burning stuff, I grew up in the countryside, so it was fine. Staring out of windows at school.
Yeah. Okay.
And today I'll be writing for myself as a novelist because I find myself unemployed, unencumbered by an income, and looking for ways to sell this little wonder.
All right. I love that. I hope you find ways to sell it, and I hope that this is something that helps you with writing from here on out.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, I always took pride in that I never started a fire that I didn't put out myself when I was a kid. So bullet dodged.
Nice one.
Kevin Antrobus. Did I say that right? Is it Antrobus or Antrobus, or pronounced something completely different? No, are we muted? I'm not hearing Kevin.
Yes, I was muted. Pardon me. So Antrobus is how we say it.
Antrobus. I got it wrong twice.
Well, you were pretty close
Antrobus.
every time, and you would have fooled me. I would have fooled.
Okay.
Yeah. Who am I? Well, we're all a lot of things. I'm a sales manager and creative strategist from Regina. And yes, we do pronounce it Regina. We're not Latin here, so we don't say Regina. Saskatchewan, Canada, which is located directly above North Dakota and Montana. And our land is very much like that, flat, pretty dry, grow a lot of crops. I am also a heavy metal singer.
Really?
Yes. So that's walking a couple different worlds. Dave, when you said, what did you get in trouble for as a kid? Holy smokes, did you bring back a memory? My dad, I remember him saying to me, when I was an adult, he said, I always regretted saying one thing to you, Kevin. He said, he used to talk all the time. And one time I was just my patience was just a little worn out. And I said to you, you don't have to say every thought that pops into your head. And he said, after I said that to you, you quit talking all the time. And he goes, you got really quiet and you've been quiet ever since.
Wow.
So that's kind of, I've forgotten about that until just,
You're a suppressed extrovert.
well, but
Some
when I
points.
read the characteristics of an introvert, that's very much describes me. And for example, when I'm on stage singing, I wear sunglasses so that people can't tell when I'm closing my eyes and being in my own world.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting. Been to Magical Worlds, yes, but a long time ago, 2009.
Well, we miss you.
Yeah.
That's before the tower opened.
Yes. Roy actually took us on a tour of a partially built tower, and I believe our class paid for the hand railing.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. I've been back twice to the academy for other classes since then. I forgot what I tested for back in 2009 on Myers-Briggs. I don't actually remember, although I do remember I did test as an I. So on the mini test you sent out, INFJ with a very strong, like 5 in the N and a 4 on F.
Okay.
And what will I be writing about? I chose one of my clients that I've been writing for a long time, and that's Wolfong Industries, and they manufacture and they sell aftermarket. Think of it as parts for combines. Think of it as hot rodding your harvesting equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quilting, but it'll do. Alethea, you're up. Oh, look, and we've got a creative use of font. I love it. Are you there?
She's here, but I can't. She needs to show her video. I don't think my audio works, is what she just said.
Oh.
And also, well, that's not cool. Let me.
Can I just read
ask to unmute
your thing, or you don't think your audio? Oh, Kevin's obviously in the same building.
I guess so. So she is. I do see in the chat that she put NF next to her name.
Okay. Well, let's come back and we can read that if we.
Yeah. And so Allison would be next. Is Allison on here?
Allison, are you here?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I'm actually really under the weather, so I'm not putting my camera on in case I have to dash out of here quickly a few times. But I work for Rolco Radio for Saskatoon and Regina, and I actually work remotely out of home, out of a small town called Nipawin. I went to the Wizard Academy either almost 20 or just over 20 years ago. I can't remember what year it was now.
Okay.
My personality is a very strong ISFJ, strong in all the letters.
Okay. So another SJ. Interesting. Okay.
And I think I might do a company called Motion Fitness.
Okay. A client of yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Glad you're here. Amanda. Hi there.
Yeah, so I have my Bachelor of Education, my MFA in Creative Writing, and I'm doing an MA in History right now. So I spent a lot of time in school. I'm a creative writer for Rolco Radio in Saskatoon, but I grew up in Alberta. And when I was a kid, I used to get in trouble more than once for hiding fiction books behind textbooks. I wasn't very good at it, so I kept getting caught. I've never been to Magical Worlds before. This is my first time. I'm an INTJ, and I think I'm going to work on one of my clients, which is just like a hot yoga studio.
Okay. So this isn't Magical Worlds, just so we're clear. This is just a writing class. I ask about Magical Worlds for one reason, and that is that we always spend a half a day on Myers-Briggs personality type discussion with Dr. Richard Grant on the third day of class. And so people that come out of Magical Worlds usually have a pretty good handle on this. So that's the only reason I asked. And I hope you can come visit us sometime soon. By the way, did you any of you, are you all getting our email newsletters and things like that? We actually created a coupon code for Canadians. If you want to come take a class at the end of this year, we're going to give you dollar parity. So it's a 27% discount on any class the rest of this year. So I feel like the coupon code is SORRY-A25, something like that. So I feel bad about the tariffs and the exchange rate, all of those things. So, all right, I digress. Andrew Taylor.
Hello,
Andrew.
Hold
Hi,
on, let's
Andrew.
try this again. There we go. Hi. Okay. Well, I'm the creative supervisor at Ralco Radio here. I live in Saskatoon, but I was born in a small town, actually not too far from Allison, maybe 3 or 4 hours, in northern Manitoba called Flin Flon. Used to be a mining town. Yes.
That almost sounds like an Australian town.
It's one of 2 places in the world that's named after a fictional character.
Oh wow!
Which,
okay.
yeah, interesting. I mean, resonated with Springfield and them having their I guess their town mascot, because we have one too on a big as a big statue on the way out of town, like Jebediah Springfield, I think he was called. So ours is called Flintabaddy Floniton. So it's kind of the joke of all my friends. So every time I go back, I have to take pictures just to prove to everyone that this ridiculous character exists.
Oh, that's amazing.
So my background is in theater. I mean, that's my education as well, BFA, focusing both on acting and then also playwriting. And I'm a drummer. I've been playing drums since I was 14. I play in a bunch of local bands and tend to play kind of a mix of heavier, like indie and punk and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I've never been to Magical Worlds before. This is my first time. For my Myers-Briggs, I am an ENFJ. I'm a little unfamiliar with this. This was my first time doing this sort of thing, but it makes sense. I mean, I scored pretty heavily on the feeling side of things, so that seems to check out.
Okay.
I'm
awesome.
Extroverted, feely type. Yeah. Business. I gave it some thought while we were doing this. I'm going to be working on like a charity community foundation today.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah. Just focus on the same business though, the same business or product through the whole thing, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I had a few going on today, but I'm gonna focus just on the one. Yeah.
Okay. Sue Ramsey. I'm glad you're here, Andrew. Andrew, you're the one that I think I got an email just before class started. You were asking about food and when we were going to break for lunch. Yes. Was that you?
That was me. Yeah.
Yeah. So Paul and I were talking, and I think that in about 45 minutes or so, we'll try to find a place that just sort of fits in the flow, and take about a half-hour break, if that'll work.
Yeah, that should work for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
awesome.
Sue.
I appreciate that.
No, is Sue still here?
I see her.
Yeah, she might be having technical difficulty. Let's see.
No.
I'll go check.
Okay. I keep trying to click on the wrong screen.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, is this Sue?
Yes.
Hey.
Okay, I don't know why it didn't do that. Anyways.
Were you able to get into this document?
No, well, you know what? I'm on my phone for Zoom, and then I was going to be on my computer for any typity type, but it is so small. I tried to get in there, and then your name was over mine, and I'm trying to hit it. It's a nightmare. So
Okay, so
verbally, if that's okay, at least for the
yeah,
time being.
and actually, anybody else in your group maybe could copy that link and email it to you. Like just go to the share button up here and copy the link and send it to Sue. And then you can have it on your computer, so you can do your writing there, and we'll all still be able to see it.
Okay, that'd be groovy.
That makes sense.
Sure does. Okay, Sue Ramsey, born in Noranda, Quebec, raised in Ontario. My education was from SAIT in Calgary, the CTSR program. It was cinema, television, stage, and radio arts. So my roots are deep into television production, commercials, documentaries, that kind of thing. That was way back in the 80s and 90s. Took a side road, worked for a charity for a number of years. And then I found myself at Ralco Radio as a writer. I have never been to Magical Worlds, but I hear good things. I am an ENFP. It was bordering on FJFP, but it just over to ENFP, which is somewhat fairly accurate. And we talk about who got in trouble for what. I actually did light the Northwestern Ontario bush on fire, had the fire department out, of which my father was a firefighter. He was not impressed. Cool. So got in a little bit of trouble, smoking our stolen ants, roll your owns,
That's great.
Mother of two, one dog, one husband, bungalow side.
So what are you going to be writing for?
I chose a very beloved place in our Broadway area called Nutana Bakery. It has been in existence since 1951 and it's just got new owners. So we are trying to attract people that used to go there as children and the memories made going into Nutana Bakery, and then have new people come in that are in their 20s.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
Adam Williams.
Hello.
Hi there.
I'm Adam Williams. That's who I am. I am from Regina, Saskatchewan. Just like a lot of other people here, I'm a creative writer at Ralco Radio. I'm also a commercial producer as well. So I put all those scripts that are put together, make them into audio. Personal life, I'm a rock and metal producer and mixing engineer. I also noticed there was a connection. In a previous life, I played lacrosse quite seriously. I went to school in Marshall, Missouri, which I noticed there was a few other people here in Missouri. So connection there. I have not been to Magical Worlds before. And based off this mini MBTI test you guys sent, I am an ESTJ.
Okay.
I believe it was Troy who had the same thing.
Yeah, we'll put you in the SJ corner. You'll know what that means here in a few minutes.
Yeah, and I've noticed I'm quite one or the one and not the other in most of my categories. So
very cool.
Curious to learn about that.
And so you did the mini one that I sent.
Yes.
And so anybody that's done the full assessment knows that there's actually it takes you probably a half hour to do it, and it's got 150 to 170 questions, something like that. So it's way more thorough, but this gives you a nice glimpse.
And I'm curious to learn because Kevin Antrobus and I were talking about it yesterday. Between the S and the N, if I had to choose based off of what I think, I feel like I'm an N, but I'm like 5 out of 5 S on this test. So I'm really curious to see why that is.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is once we get into descriptions, we'll look at the differences between an S and an N, and that may help you decide.
Sure.
right? Or if you read anything in the cheat sheets, the writing for personality type sheets that I gave you, there's some good indications there. But we'll get into that. And it's just for right now, it's just good to know at least some little glimpse that says who you are.
Sure.
So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks. And lastly, sorry?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that lastly, the business I'll be writing for is a company in Regina called Smokin' Outlaws. It's a barbecue company owned by a pitmaster world champion. So he's one of my favorite clients right now. So thought I'd.
Oh, that's exciting.
About him.
From here in you won't believe that. Like, I kind of get tired of barbecue. We have it at least once a week.
Yeah,
on campus is sort of so awesome. I look forward to hearing those ads. Jan Stitt, I saw you sneak in here. Are you here? Well, I thought I saw her. Didn't I see Jan? Paul, did I see Jan?
You did.
Popped up left for a moment.
Okay.
And I can't find her anymore.
Well, dang. She's elusive. We'll find Jan. And I don't think Robin has joined us yet either. So that's everybody, I believe. So very cool. It is 7 minutes till 12 Central. And
hold on for a second. We didn't get to Alethea.
Oh, did we? We didn't go back.
Her audio is good now.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Oh, okay. Hey. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, good.
Well, let's see where. Which one?
I don't know if it's in the same order as I see it, but I'm in between like Kevin Antrovis and Allison Yaschuk.
Alethea.
Okay. There we go.
I have a lot. Yeah, so I'm Alethea Stafford. I'm a creative ad writer from Rolco Radio. I work with Adam and Kevin. And then I kind of work with Andrew and Sue, just like on email, though. They're a little farther away. I kind of went a bunch of places. So I was born in Calgary. My dad was a computer technology programmer. So he would get like temporary contracts and he would go to the States quite a bit. So we moved to like Oklahoma when I was really young. Mostly lived in Canada, but then when like back in 2010, I moved to Houston for a year and then decided that Austin was better. And yeah, beautiful city, you guys. I really miss it. I went to visit back in 2023 and I'd love to visit again to go to Magical Worlds because I've never been before. I grew up in a musical family, so I have experience playing in live bands, doing musical theater, sometimes dabble in songwriting. I also attended Selkirk College's Contemporary Music and Technology program back in Nelson, BC there. So that was a really good experience. Met a lot of great people. In terms of my MBTI, I've mostly tested as an ENFP, but then most recently I tested as INFP. So I think I'm a little loose on extroverted, introverted, because I love deep connection. I'm not someone who is technically energized at parties. Like I have an appearance of someone who's extroverted because I'm super expressive, but yeah, it's an interesting concept anyway, that extroversion and introversion are not what we think it is typically.
Well, your audio is kind of coming in and out. It got really soft there for a minute.
Is it good if I lean down a bit? Anyway, the business I'll be writing for is In Loving Memory, and that's a very, at least to me, I've never heard of anything like this, where this woman who worked as a nurse actually comes to people's homes who are at end of life to help them like pass on in a peaceful way. And I remember writing for them and just really connecting with the material. Like I was very particular about what bed I should play and allowing that space to breathe and to really like short and meaningful rather than trying to litter it with information.
Yeah.
And so I would love to kind of delve into that product today because I actually have to write for them something today. So it's like, two birds with one stone, but also to kind of strengthen more like deep emotional writing and just making it effective for everybody.
Well, the fact that you're an NF is works 100% in your favor for deeply emotional writing, and you'll see us talk about that here in a few minutes. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
Anybody else I've missed, Paul?
I don't believe so. I think it's everybody.
Okay. So we did this. Here is your first assignment, and you have to write fast for this one, and that's on purpose because I'm not going to give you time to think about this. You just have to write a radio ad for your chosen business or product or some kind of an elevator pitch, something that can be delivered in under a minute. And we're not looking for clever, we're looking for clarity. I know that those of you in the radio industry, you're probably writing a radio ad in 3 minutes. It's a piece of cake. So get on it, and we'll talk again in 3 minutes. I'll play a little music.
Set timer, 2 minutes 45.
We okay now?
Almost done.
Almost done. Okay. I'm going to go ahead because this doesn't need to be like this ad is, you're going to write better ads shortly, but what we wanted was to get this one just out as you. So we're not going to read those back for a bit. We're going to talk about dimensions of personality and personality type. And I think one of the fascinating things about Myers-Briggs is that this notion of looking at people through the lens of different personalities has been around for a long time. Myers-Briggs sorts people into 16 types. And that's really helpful if you're using Myers-Briggs as kind of a tool for interpersonal work. And so that's where things like extrovert, introvert come into play. But we're really going to be looking at what they call temperaments. So that's only 4 types of people. And your temperament is based on 2 of the sets of letters in a way. So just as a little historical perspective, in the Bible, Ezekiel looked at 4 living creatures, divided things into 4s. Hippocrates, 4 different humors. These described 4 different kinds of people. And this goes on and on. We've been looking at people as sorting them into 4 different kinds for a long time. A long time. And what's interesting is if you actually like track these, you could figure out which word for in one of these systems kind of matches up with words from Myers-Briggs, which is what we're using today. But there's just a lot of them. Manic, depressive, oversensitive, insensitive. Fromm's 4 orientations. And so in some ways they come at it from different directions. And this is Keirsey, and Keirsey is a lot of the Myers-Briggs work was based on Keirsey's work, and Keirsey sorted people into artisans, guardians, idealists, and rationals. And so I see the question in chat, like how well do these sets of 4 overlap? They overlap in the sense that you can map certain things, but if anytime you're looking at 4 quadrants, and you group people that way, if you change one of the measures, you'll end up grouping them in a little bit different way. And so some people might be in one quadrant in one and another in another. I'm often asked, like, how does this relate to the DISC system, things like that. And it sort of relates, but we're not going to get too deep in the woods on that. Keirsey did 4 temperaments, and then Myers looked at this and said, we're going to use Jungian types. And so the 4 types that Myers and Briggs used, and Myers and Briggs were a mother and daughter team that came up with this, but they're going to use sensing, perceiving, sensing, judging, intuitive feeling, and intuitive thinking. Now, the N stands for intuitive, because we already used I in introvert. So in Myers-Briggs, when you go back and you sort people into the 16 different types, you are looking at extrovert versus introvert. So extroverts, you may be extroverted if you are the one that initiates discussion. If you're the one that interrupts and asks questions. I mean, Kevin was probably an introvert or an extrovert before he was told to quit saying everything that popped into his head. Extroverts want dialogue, face-to-face interaction. They make direct eye contact, physical contact with people. An introvert may be someone that allows others to initiate discussion. They may give monologues, because what often happens is, as an introvert will process what they're going to say in their head, and it'll all come out formed like a monologue. And they'll base their discussions on thorough written preparation, may be tentative about eye contact or physical contact. There are loads of books out there. This is one of my favorites as far as just using Myers-Briggs to kind of decode people. This one's called The Art of Speed Reading People, and Paul Teager and Barbara Barentiger had a number of books on the market. I don't know if this is still in print, but I find it's a pretty valuable book to just kind of be able to get a code in your head and think through, is this person an introvert or an extrovert? So you're either an E or you're an I. And as we said, sometimes you might take even the full-blown Myers-Briggs test and sort of test right down the middle. And Myers and Briggs contend that you have a preference. And what they're trying to determine is, what is your natural preference? And if you think of Myers-Briggs as the human operating system, or the operating system of your brain, you have an innate preference for either extroversion or introversion. And the goal of the assessment is to actually just try to figure out what that is. So that's why when you're trying to help someone decide, are you an extrovert at heart or an introvert at heart, by asking them what they got in trouble for as a child, takes you back to before all of the social pressures to act a different way started acting on them. So I think going back to Kevin's observation that he got in trouble for saying things, just blurting things out, my inclination would be to say that leads me to think that you may be more of a natural extrovert than an introvert. But you were kind of tucked into introverted behaviors early on in your childhood. So that may have molded you into who you are today. But maybe at heart, you're an extrovert. Again, not enough questions to really answer it. It's not that important for our discussion today, but if you want to dive down that trail a little deeper, those are the kinds of things that someone that is certified in Myers-Briggs can help you with. So, and I'm certified in it. Paul Boomer is certified. If you ever want to dig deeper, or even use Myers-Briggs as some kind of a group training. We can certainly do things like that. So let's go back to the slide and look at sensing versus intuition. So this is the second letter in your four-letter temperament or four-letter type. You might be sensing if you focus on facts, specific problems or examples, talks of applications, deliverables, next steps, energized by the nuts and bolts phase of a project. And an intuitive person focuses on the overview, the context, the connections, as they talk about explanations and patterns and systemic implications, energized by the design phase. So you can kind of think of sensing versus intuition as how someone takes in information in some ways. And the sensing person wants to take it in through their senses, and the intuitive feels like, no, I need to see the big picture, and I'll understand it once I apply my intuition to it. The next set are thinking versus feeling. And a thinking person may prefer thinking if they focus first on the task or business. They're low-key, researched, logical. They want accuracy. They're stressed by mistakes and redundancy. And if you're a feeling person, you might focus first on the working relationship, more expressive, connective, personal, and you want consensus and stressed by conflict. So you're either a person that prefers thinking or a person that prefers feeling, the T versus the F. And then the final one is judging versus perceiving. This is one that actually is, you'll find that in married couples or business partners, a J and a P can make pretty good partners because they sort of complete each other. The risk is that J and P is also the source of most of the friction that you'll find between two people. So a judging person, it doesn't mean that they're judgmental, but a judging person uses goals to regulate present behavior. They want regular feedback about progress to goal, emphasize planning, strategy, and control. A J type really feels like they are in control and that the world is black and white, right and wrong. They're stressed by last-minute revisions and unaccountability. At Wizard Academy, we laugh about this when we do a Magical Worlds session with Dr. Grant, because Daniel Whittington, who is the Chancellor of Wizard Academy, is a strong J type. And I am the Vice Chancellor of Wizard Academy, and I'm a strong P type. Like I don't test much in the way of J at all. And so a perceiving person seeks options to maximize the present opportunity. Like what's right in front of us? How do we jump on that? We tend to learn from natural consequences, meaning we make mistakes and learn from them, hopefully. But more of the kind of person that says, well, I don't know, let's see what happens if we do this. Emphasizes timing, tactics, and adapting to things, and stressed by overplanning and micromanagement, which sometimes are what working for a J-type feels like. So that can be a source of stress in between two people. So you're either a person that prefers judging or a person that prefers perceiving. And so those are the four types. So does anybody want to talk about any of that? Does that help your type that you identified with feel like it fits you? Or do you feel like maybe it's wrong in some dimension? Anyone?
Dave?
Yeah.
Can you go back one slide just for my question?
Yeah.
So just using this as an example, is it possible for a personality type to prefer to take in the world as judging, yet dish it out as a perceiving,
Hmm.
or vice versa.
No, I don't think that's really what this is about. And interestingly, like we all can be one or the other. And in fact, your environment you may be in a place where you actually have to act as if you're a J type. And one of the things that Dr. Grant emphasizes is as you age, you'll get better at doing both. You'll feel more comfortable on both sides of these. So think of it as left-handedness versus right-handedness. If I ask you if you're right-handed and we tie your right hand behind your back and ask you to write your name, you'll still be able to write your name. But it may not look as neat and it may not be as fast as if you were using your right hand. Is that helpful, Kevin? Like, I may not be understanding your question.
Well, yeah. So maybe I'll ask a different way. I'm not sure if I got across to you. So if I'm a J, I may be more open to being communicated to in the style of J. But could somebody be that way and yet have developed a communication style where they act outwardly, they talk to people like a P? But don't talk to me that way. I want to be talked to like a J. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, so you use the word obviously. Like that's something that a J was. Obviously, this is what we need to do. And a P type would be, well, I don't think it's obvious. I think we could try it this way. We could try it that way. We could see which one works better. Could see which one feels better. So a P type doesn't man, we love leaving options open. Nothing worse for a P type than like closing a door, either literally or figuratively, whether it's opportunities or all kinds of things. I think if you're a J type and you're just good at communicating and you recognize you've got P type folks and you adjust your communication to accommodate them, I think that's great. And that may be what you're doing. But left to how you'd prefer to be communicated with, you'd probably stick to whatever your innate style is or preference.
So this is Boomer here. I'm going to jump in, and I see Adam, I think, has a question. Did you have your hand up, Adam?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me just a second here. Dave, does that go into the primary, secondary, tertiary, and inferior? Because JP doesn't change that much, or it's not obvious, but it's the other ones that can be observable more than anything else.
I mean, yes. And I feel like chasing this idea too far into the weeds takes us way past the scope of this class.
Oh yeah.
Because what we're going to do is boil this down and make it even simpler than it is with just looking at the two. But what Paul's talking about, like tertiary, secondary, this is the Myers-Briggs manual, and this has let's see, I'm looking for it's 400 pages of all kinds of data and like trends. Like Myers-Briggs is one of the most studied and tested psychological tests ever developed, and they know, like, you can look up what percentage of the population are S's versus N's, all of those things. And for a number of reasons, it's not all that relevant to where we're headed here. But what was the other question?
I guess I was curious about, is there more or less of one type, like as a whole? I guess specifically with this J and P. After hearing you describe it, I am most definitely a J. Lots of people like to joke about how I'm ones and zeros. It's right and wrong. And it makes me feel that a lot of people are P's. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I haven't. I'm not all that fresh on the distributions here, but like in this book, there's a whole table of like here's the percentages of the population that are each type,
Mhm.
and so you can break that down into so 45% of the population are P types, 54% are J's,
Oh, interesting.
73% are S types,
Hmm.
and only 26% are N's. And so when you break it down into the four letters, or at least the four temperaments, the NTs are actually quite a bit smaller group.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Interesting.
of the four temperaments, so yeah, only like 10%. Again, it's fascinating,
Yeah.
not all that relevant, because what we're trying to get to with this class is how do you write so that you are actually getting across to all 16 types, but broken down through a lens of four temperaments. And it's not so much a class on interaction. Dr. Grant does a lesson, and Kevin, this may help with the J and P. It's a really interesting one. So if you take a whole group of people that have done the Myers-Briggs assessment, and you tell everybody that tested J to move to one side of the room, and everybody that tested P to move to the other side of the room, and you ask them to, you're just like, okay, you got 3 minutes, plan a vacation. Right? So all the J types are in a little huddle, and all the P types are in a little huddle, and you say plan a vacation. And then you start, you let the time go, and you start asking the J types, how long would it take you to plan this? Oh, like when would the vacation be? Oh, probably a year to 18 months from now. All right. And what does the planning phase look like? Oh, they're making lists, they're getting things packed. When you ask the P types, could you go on a big vacation tonight? Most of them say yes. What would you pack? I don't know. Tell me what climate we're going to, and maybe I can just buy my stuff there. But if I had the opportunity to go, I'd go now. And that's horrific to a strong J type. Like it sends chills down their spine, and they're like, they look at you like you're from Mars. But I am absolutely willing to do that. I don't usually have the means and the time off, but if somebody said, "Man, let's road trip to San Diego," I'd be like, "Cool, let's go." Or let's go up and see our friends in Regina. I'm in, right? For me to plan a vacation, it's more like, what direction are we going? That's all the planning I need. My wife, who is an SJ, and our oldest daughter are trying to organize a trip to California for January. And I'm like, so we're flying into San Francisco. So that's when I book the flights, I need to know that we're flying in and out of San Francisco. Okay, that's all I need to know. Just surprise me, right? I may have some things that I like to do. Maybe I'll look, maybe I won't. But that's typical of the kind of of differences between P's and J's. Does that help? And any other questions about some of the other types? All right, we'll head into taking the 4 down to or taking the 16 down to 4, and that's what we call temperament. So your type is a 4-letter acronym. Your temperament is a 2-letter, and they're basic. It seems confusing, but basically, you look at an S type. So the sensing types. There's the 2 main sensing types, and there's 2 main intuitive types, and that's how we break it down. So the S types are either SJs or SPs. Okay, and we'll label these here in just a minute. But so SJs and SPs and the N types are NTs or NFs. So if you look at your 4-letter type, you're either an SJ, an SP, an NT, or an NF. And notice that this ignores introverted, extroverted. We don't even take that into account because that's really more of a personal thing. So when we're looking at this and we're looking at primarily, I like looking at it as we get through this, really as a means of decision making and communication styles rather than human interaction. So if you look at your cheat sheet, you'll see that that it's color coded. There's a section that's yellow, there's a section that's blue, a section that's green, and a section that's red. I use yellow, or I use orange on these slides because yellow just doesn't show up very well. So orange is a substitute for yellow. And then we give them our own label. And this is something that Jeffrey Eisenberg and Brian Eisenberg years ago worked out, got help from Dr. Grant. If you remember, Keirsey uses words like artisan and guardian, and we're going to use different words for these four, but this is the big picture of an NT: comprehensive, ingenious, model building, long game, and vision driven. SPs are action-oriented, adaptive, optimistic, courageous, realistic, utilitarian. So we had a couple of SJs, 2 or 3 SJs in the group: authoritative, hierarchical, standard operating procedures, thorough, prudent, stabilizing, efficient, careful. And our NFs are morale builders. They're people that want to connect. They're cooperative, they're communicating, inclusive, and affirming. And this is not to say that the other 3 aren't. It's to say their preference and their primary mode of operation is going to be driven more by these descriptors. So Myers-Briggs, these 4 personality types or these 4 temperaments are represented by those 16 different types. So when we look at decision making, I like to break it down this way. You're either a fast decision maker or a slow decision maker, right? There are people that can just look at something and say, well, that's what we're going to do. They look at a menu and say, I know what I'm going to get. And there are people that are like, oh, I'm thinking, oh, I had steak just 2 days ago. Maybe I don't want the steak. I haven't had seafood in a while. And and my wife doesn't like cooking seafood. So maybe this is an opportunity. It's like, no. And someone that makes fast decisions says, that's what I'm having. And then you have people that make logical decisions and people that make emotional decisions. Now, I believe that we all make 100% emotional decisions all the time, but there are people who believe they're making logical decisions because their emotions lead them. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But at the end of the day, at Wizard Academy, we always say, look, become the company that people think of first and feel best about when they finally need what it is that you sell. When they feel best about it and think of you first, they're making a logical decision, but it may be emotion that led them to that conclusion. That gets complicated. We're not really going to dive into that. So there are people that believe they make logical decisions, and there are people that know they make emotional decisions. So if I'm looking at a menu, logical decision might be, well, I'm eating low carb, so I'm not going to have the pasta. If I'm making an emotional decision, it might be, gosh, pasta is just my feel-good food, and that's what I'm going to order. Because I may not be eating it now, but it'll really make me happy if I order it. So it's based on an emotion. And we've built a quadrant here of decision-making styles. So in one quadrant, we have our NTs. So any of the 16 that have N and T are typically going to be fast, logical decision makers. I make a quick decision based on logic. Anybody that makes slow, considered decisions based on emotions falls into the NF quadrant. And so these are, if you're at a restaurant, rather than just choose something off the menu that you know you'll probably like, NFs will look at the waiter and go, what do you like? What's your favorite dish on the menu? Right? It's like, well, and the NTs are like, what the hell difference does that make? They're not you, right? But the NFs are like, no, but I tend to judge things by whether other people like them. So they like testimonials. They like reviews that talk about how your product makes people feel, but they make decisions that are a little bit slower based on how things are going to feel, both to you and to the people that you're interacting with. The fast emotional decision makers are the SPs. I like to think of firemen as SPs, right? They're doing their thing, and then the alarm goes off, and yeehaw, off to the fire, right? And Dr. Grant likes to say, make sure you know who the SPs are when you get to town, because these people know where the restaurants are, they know where the bars are, and they're just people of action. They're ready to go. And what is it, Paul? He says if the building's on fire and other people are like, well, I don't know if it's that bad or not. If the SPs decide to leave the room, leave the room. They know.
Yeah, follow them.
Follow them, yeah. They will lead the charge. So the SJs are the logical, slow decision makers. So these are the people that want all the details, right? It's not so much that I want to know whether the waiter likes the chicken. I'd like to know the process that was used to cook the chicken. I'd like to know what ingredients are in it. All those things. They need a lot of detail and a lot of factual detail so they can make a considered, logical choice.
So,
and then,
sorry, I'm going to interrupt. William had a question. I think William Hackett Jones. He said,
sorry.
Slow and emotional decision maker. Are there any upsides to that?
Are there any upsides? I mean, sure. You're not. I mean, for someone that prefers that, you're not jumping to conclusions, rushing into something. So you're getting all the facts. Is that slow and emotional? They're the feelers. So we call them, the names that we put on these are competitive. I'm clicking on the wrong spot. Competitive, humanistic, spontaneous, and methodical. So, Will, the humanistic is the one that it's not so much that they're just being slow. The upside to it is that they're making decisions that maybe aren't putting other people out the way someone who's making a quick logical decision might. Right? If you're choosing sides for a competitive sport, the NTs are going to pick the best players every single time, and the NFs might say, you know what, I think it'd make Dave feel good if he got picked a little earlier than last. So I'll skip picking a really competitive player because I'm actually strategically going to choose someone based on emotion for a different reason than winning. Does that make sense? Okay.
Dave.
Now, when we were doing this exact model for websites, we would actually take these 4 temperaments and build personas around them. So we'd give someone a name and we'd say, okay, Barbara's our competitive and Karen's are slow, are humanistic, and so we'd give names and we'd write backstories for all of them. And so almost like you're building characters in a novel, you're actually giving these backstories and photos and names so that you can actually think of that person while you're writing to them, writing words that they're going to like. All right, are we all are we, Kevin, did you have something?
I was just going to ask if an NF would be the type that's more likely to read all the reviews before making a purchase decision.
Absolutely. Especially the reviews that are like more testimonial in nature. Like, I love this. I felt so seen and heard. Like, so Chapel Dulcinea, we get lots of reviews, and you can sort of look at them and say, someone that says the staff was great. We felt like it was so inclusive and so close and intimate. And someone else might describe the actual setting and the physical structure and those kinds. Like, it was a great setting in the mountains. It was, or in the little hills outside Austin. It was perfect for what we had in mind. And they don't talk about people; they talk about facility. More likely, even in a review, more likely to be a competitive or a methodical. An NF would be more likely to talk about how it made people feel and how the staff made people feel. So people use reviews for different reasons based on their temperament. And if I'm thinking about it, I try to respond to reviews with sort of the same language that they were written in. It just feels like the right response for someone.
So, Dave, for those who are logical, SJs, about how much more time until lunch?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to keep an eye on that, and I actually want to just get a couple more slides in, and we'll do the assignment, and we'll take a longer lunch, and when we come back, you'll have your things written. How does that sound? So, like, we break in, like, give me 5 more minutes. Does that sound okay? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. You all got this sent to you. And by the way, it is also in this document. So the whole thing is in the document where you're going to do your writing. So if you need it as a cheat sheet, it's there. You'll notice that this next one is not there yet because I have not shared that with you yet. So don't worry about that. But the writing to personality type is here. Now, here's the assignment. And let's just go around really quickly. Does anybody feel like their description, the ad that you wrote before we dove into this, does it fit your temperament? Like, if you're an NT, did you write an ad that feels like it's an NT? My guess is, my hope is that you wrote an ad for you. You wrote an ad that you would respond to. Does that sound fair? Does that feel right to anyone who wants to chat about that?
I can.
Go ahead.
As a NF, and the ad I wrote is all about the experience that this business owner has and how they get grumpy and they hate this type of situation and how it makes them feel. Therefore, they have a better product.
Okay. So let's see here. And so you're an NF. Yeah, I mean, first of all, an NF is going to love an ad that's written by, or that's spoken by, the person that runs the business. Emotion. I hate breaking down at 3 a.m. I get my crop in the bin. I hate rocks. I get a little grumpy, right? This is full of emotion. So yeah, you wrote an NF ad. You're an NF guy and you wrote an NF ad. Who else wanted to? Let's just look at, William had his hand up. Did you write it in here?
No, I didn't. I scribbled it down on paper.
Okay, that's okay. So you're an NT. Do you feel like you wrote an NT ad?
I'm really struggling with this because the test I did years ago at the academy was an NT, but listening to the descriptions, I clearly fit more into an NF.
Okay.
I don't know. I always struggle with categorizing things. I've spent last week. I was at a big Moscow book fair, trying to flog my book, and I did something that is desperately uncomfortable to me, which is to try and stop everyone passing and
No,
use
sure.
single liners to see what would work.
Yeah.
You know, some things worked, some things didn't. But I sort of refined a few lines that I found worked, and I kind of put them together into this. But I wouldn't know how to say what type I'm writing from.
Okay. Can you read it to us?
Yeah.
And remember, the assignment here wasn't to write an ad in your type. This is me experimenting on you to see if you wrote an ad that feels like an NT wrote it.
Just whatever came out.
Yeah.
So it starts with a whiny kid voice. But Daddy, one more story. And then you have a sort of a 1950s authoritative voice. Would you give your kid an espresso before bed? Then why are you reading them exciting stories about dragons and wizards and witches? If you want to get some we time back, you need The Old Wooden House, the book whose sole aim is that no child is awake to hear the end of it. The Old Wooden House. Find it on Amazon. Click before you fall asleep.
Yeah, I think if we look at if we scroll to the NTs, I think it's at the end. It's businesslike, it's power oriented, right? It was a solution. I feel like it was a very NT written ad, even though with kids, you have to have a little bit of emotion in, but you're really talking about the benefit to me of reading my kid a book that's not going to scare him, and right. So I felt it like very parent oriented benefits there. I think it's definitely an NT ad. Who else has one that wants to read it? We'll read a few of these, and then I'll give you your assignment, and we'll just take an extra long lunch so you can write and eat. Anyone else?
I could.
Who is that?
Alethea.
Alethea. Let's find right here.
I have to scroll down. Yeah, it's at the next page. Went down.
Okay, now wait. You're an NF. Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like this client is naturally NF.
Oh, sure.
Like even just meeting her, like it was about like she talked about how in hospitals she didn't like how sterile the environment was, and just seeing like people at the end of their days only look like at a photo of their loved ones. Like she's very in tune with the needs of people.
Go ahead and read it.
Yeah. So where do you begin when thinking about the end? It is difficult to hear and talk about, but it's something we all face, and you don't have to face it alone. My name is Samara, a nurse and certified end-of-life doula, and my life's passion is to help you and your family in the final chapter of life, to provide holistic care, dignity, and peace. If you feel it's hard to talk about, you can talk to me in loving memory at nursedoula.ca.
I mean, this is 100% NF. 100%. It's all about feeling. That's perfect. You nailed the assignment.
Thank you.
Who else feels like they wrote in their style? Who feels like they didn't? Oh, we've got extra tabs. Somebody's been adding tabs. Does anybody feel like they didn't write in their style?
I'm not 100% sure for mine. I think I gravitated towards the NF.
Is this Andrew?
But this is me. Hi. Yeah.
Okay.
But I like, I've been working on this one for a little while. So, I mean, I almost feel like I have to gravitate away from it. So it probably resonates as being an NF, but I'm trying to do something different.
That's okay. Yeah, that wasn't part of the assignment. So you messed up on the assignment by overthinking. Does that make sense? But
yeah,
this is NF.
Yeah.
They connect your gift to the charities that mean the most to you. It gets into a little detail oriented down here, but this is emotional, a heart for community, a mind for change. I think you started off in NF territory for sure, and you decided to make it a little more fact oriented as you went on. Does that sound about right?
Mhm. Yeah, totally.
Okay. Who else do we want to look at? Tanya? Can I look at yours? Wait, what are we?
You can look at mine.
Okay, we've looked at NF. So yeah, who is this?
I'm an SJ. I am honestly not sure if it's
Who are we talking to?
Allison Yazchuk.
Allison. There we go. So an SJ. Okay.
Pretty just details, I think.
Get Fit at Motion Fitness. They have a membership tailored just for you. The Encore 50 Plus for just $524 a year. I mean, that's details. You'll feel almost 50 years younger. It's results. Unlimited group classes, spin, yoga, and more. Details. Get Fit at so 4 locations. So the methodical wants to know these details, right?
Yeah.
$524 a year. That answers that question. I mean, I think you've got some good SJ detail in here. It's not a lot of, you'll love the unlimited group classes. It's more about unlimited group classes, to be honest, right? It's not about the emotion love. It's that you need to know this. There are unlimited group classes. You're not going to be limited to just 3 a month or something like that. So I think this does a good job of addressing an SJ's needs by focusing on detail, right? They want methods and facts. And who else? So I think you passed the assignment. Anyone else that's
I'll give it a go.
who's this?
This is Sue.
All right.
ENFP. So I wrote for a local loved bakery. It wraps around you like a warm blanket, the aroma of freshly baked bread, and suddenly you're a kid again. Since 1951, Nutana Bakery has been part of your mornings and your memories. Now they welcome a new generation, but the tradition and nostalgia live on. In fact, they even use the same recipe, so every bite is a step back in time. Stop in for coffee, grab a loaf of bread for dinner, and a donut for the kid in you. Nutana Bakery, just like you remember it.
Yeah, this is very NF. It's got all the feels. It makes me want to feel the feelings that I got at that bakery, right? And an NT would want to know, well, yeah, but is it a good bakery, right? I don't give a crap about a warm blanket. I want a roll that really tastes good.
True.
So I think you did well on that. I'm trying to think of what other personality types we have. NF, NT. So here's an NT. Are we okay, Amanda, if we go with this?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So an NT, remember?
So I don't actually think
Fast logical. Go ahead.
lines really with my personality. Sorry, you were muted, so like I might have just caught you off. We're like sharing audio and I'm trying to like go from my
I'm
computer.
sorry.
Did you say something?
Oh, I was saying that I like you're an NT.
Yeah.
And NT makes quick, logical decisions, right? This is a very short ad. A hot yoga space just for you. It's not an Instagram studio. Your practice means more than the next pick for your social feed, right? You're actually kind of crapping on the NFs right here. That's fine. Unplug and leave it all at the door. Breathe and unwind with mindfulness. It's your practice. Do it for you, not the gram. That's perfect NT, right? You absolutely nailed an NT ad. So I feel like this is working. Does anybody feel like they missed it, or can I just jump to the next thing? Anyone going once?
Go ahead and jump.
I feel like you all did a really good job, and you weren't instructed. Remember, You were not instructed to write an ad that aligned with your temperament. You were just instructed to write an ad in 3 minutes. Nobody does that. But you did it and it aligned with your temperament. So here's the assignment. Rewrite your ad 3 times, but focus specifically on the temperaments that you are not. So if you're an NT, look at the cheat sheet and write an ad for an SP. Look at the cheat sheet and write an ad for an NF and an SJ. And now you'll have 4 ads. Okay? I'm going to give you, it's almost 1. Let's take an hour. Does that sound all right? You can leave Zoom on. You can rejoin if you want to. Is everybody okay with that? So eat and write and eat. Any questions before we go? And please go ahead and write on our shared thing, or if you prefer to write longhand, maybe type them in so that we can see your examples and make sure that you actually, you know what? Don't tell us which you wrote for. Let's try to guess. But write all. Well, you can put it in there if you needed to keep track of. Somebody had their hand up. Who had a hand up? Or a question? Anyone? I can't see all the things at once, Paul.
Nobody. That's what I
Will
see.
Hackett has his hand up.
Oh, wait, yeah. Well,
I just put my hand up. Yeah. Sorry to be slow. What page of what are we looking at to know how to write for which?
Okay. So you wrote an ad in your natural style just below your most of you did this. You wrote just below your intro.
Yeah. I mean, if I wrote my ad for an NT, then where do I find the cheat sheet for what?
So you'll write it in here. The cheat sheet is in this tab called Writing to Personality Type.
That's the one. Okay.
And I emailed it to everyone, so you may have a printed copy of it. But if you're writing the NT ad, scroll down to the NT part and start looking at, just sort of look at this and go, okay, yeah, I need to write to that person.
Gotcha.
And then when you put it in your tab where you're writing, just make a little note that this is the NT. Does that all make sense? So you have 3 ads to write and food to eat, and I'll play some George Winston, and if you want to hear something else, then turn this down and play something else. And we'll see you in an hour.